You've heard the rumors. Vietnam is the new manufacturing king. The Philippines is the BPO superstar. And Indonesia, it's the sleeping giant finally waking up. But by 2030, only one of these nations will likely hold the title of Asia's next miracle. Today, we're moving past the surface level stats to look at who is actually winning the ground war for your future. Wait, before you say, Vietnam has already won, did you know that the Philippines is planning to change how it calculates its entire economy by 2028? This one move could make their GDP numbers look massive overnight. Stay with me, because we're diving into why the numbers you see on news sites might be lying to you. Let's talk about Vietnam. They've played the China Plus One strategy perfectly. Walk into any electronics store and you'll see Made in Vietnam on everything from phones to EVs. But there's a catch. Some of you in the comments mentioned that growth by exports is fragile. If global demand drops, does Vietnam's miracle evaporate? And here's the twist. Indonesia isn't just making gadgets. They're sitting on the world's largest supply of nickel. Without them, the global EV revolution stops. While Vietnam builds the cars, Indonesia owns the fuel. Who has more leverage in 2030? Now, let's look at the Philippines. We often hear about crab mentality or political drama, and many of you expressed frustration about that. But look at the data. The Philippines has a young, English-fluent workforce that the other two simply can't match yet. While AI is a threat, the pivot to high-end tech services is happening faster than people realize. But is talent enough? One viewer pointed out that while the Philippines focuses on services, Vietnam is already building nuclear power plants for energy security. Can you run a digital economy if your electricity costs are the highest in the region? We're looking at that comparison next. Indonesia is the heavyweight in the room. They have 278 million people. That's a massive internal market. If the rest of the world stops buying, Indonesia can just sell to itself. They are moving from just exporting raw dirt to forcing companies to build factories inside Indonesia. It's a bold move that could make them the dominant force of 2030. So, if Vietnam has the factories, the Philippines has the talent, and Indonesia has the resources, who wins? The answer isn't who has the most money today, it's who fixes their internal house first. The Asian miracle of 2030 won't be a single winner. It'll be a shift in the global balance of power. But if I had to pick the underdog that might surprise everyone, it's the one currently being underestimated by its own people. What do you think? Is Indonesia's resource wealth a guaranteed win, or will the Philippines' shift in GDP reporting reveal a hidden giant? Let's keep the debate going in the comments. I'll be reading them. Look at these official GDP numbers for the Philippines. Now forget them. Seriously. What if I told you the Philippine economy is actually much bigger than the government even realizes? We've all seen the debates in the comments, people saying Vietnam is ahead or the Philippines is lagging. But there's a math secret involved here that most economists don't talk about on the news. Today, we're going behind the curtain to see why the Philippines might be the most undervalued country in Asia. Wait, before you look at the fancy mall stats, look at your local street corner. One of you guys pointed out in my last video that the Philippines doesn't count street vendors the same way other countries do. He was right. This is the informal economy. In the Philippines, millions of transactions happen every day in cash at sari-sari stores and markets that never touch a bank or a government spreadsheet. Some experts estimate this hidden economy could be as high as 30 to 40% of the total GDP. That's billions of dollars just invisible. But it gets even crazier. Let's talk about the remittance paradox. The Philippines brings in over $30 billion a year from OFWs. Here's the trick. GDP only measures what is produced inside the borders. It doesn't fully capture the massive wealth being sent home that builds houses and starts businesses. When you look at GNI, gross national income, the Philippines suddenly looks a lot stronger. We aren't just a consumption economy, we are a global labor powerhouse, and the math is struggling to keep up. Now, here is the most modern secret, the digital shadow. The While the world argues about ChatGPT, two neighbors in Southeast Asia are fighting a much older war, a war for power. Vietnam is about to bet their entire future on nuclear energy, a multi-billion-dollar gamble they abandoned once before. Meanwhile, the Philippines is doing the exact opposite, betting it all on the sun. One of these moves is a masterstroke. The other could be a debt trap that sinks a decade of growth. Let's look at the real numbers. Vietnam is desperate. Their manufacturing is exploding, but their power grid is gasping for air. They need 150 gigawatts by 2030. That's double what they have now. Their solution? Bringing nuclear back from the grave. They're talking to Russia and South Korea about reactors that cost $10 billion a pop. It's consistent, it's powerful, but here's the killer. If the project stalls like it did in 2016, Vietnam isn't just losing power, they're losing the factory of the world title to India. Now look at the Philippines. They have the highest electricity prices in Southeast Asia, nearly double Vietnam's. So they aren't waiting for a 10-year nuclear build. They're building the world's largest solar farm, Terra Solar. We're talking 5 million panels. Why? Because the sun is free, and the Philippines has plenty of it. But here's the catch. The sun goes down. If they can't fix the battery problem, all those panels are just expensive glass in the dark. Who's actually winning? Vietnam has the iron will. Business owners are suffocating of a centralized economy. When they decide on nuclear, they move mountains. But the Philippines has a secret weapon, private capital. Companies like Solar Philippines are moving faster than any government agency. Vietnam is building a marathon runner. The Philippines is building a sprinter. But in a global recession, which one crosses the finish line? Let's talk about the F word, failure. For Vietnam, a nuclear leak or a construction delay is a national disaster. For the Philippines, solar is modular. If one farm fails, you build another. But the Philippines grid is a mess. It's an archipelago. Moving power from a solar farm in Luzon to a factory in Cebu is like trying to push water through a straw. Vietnam's grid is unified. The Philippines' grid is a jigsaw puzzle. So, who wins the energy war? Vietnam is playing the long game for massive industrial dominance. The Philippines is playing the survival game to lower costs for the average person right now. If Vietnam succeeds, they become the next China. If the Philippines succeeds, they become the greenest hub in Asia. My bet, Vietnam has the higher ceiling, but the Philippines has the safer floor. What do you think? Is nuclear too risky, or is solar too weak? Drop a comment below. I'm reading all of them. $1 trillion. It's a number that sounds like science fiction for most emerging markets, but for the Philippines, it's a deadline. Many experts, and even many of you in our comments, believe that by 2033, the Philippines will officially join the world's elite trillion-dollar club. But let's be real, we are currently sitting at about 450 billion. To more than double in less than 10 years, that is a massive mountain to climb. Is this a realistic dream, or are we headed for a reality check? Let's look at the math. First, let's talk about the secret weapon, the people. While neighbors like China, Japan, and even Vietnam are starting to worry about an aging population, the Philippines is hitting a demographic sweet spot. The average age here is just 25. That is a massive, young, English-speaking workforce that the rest of the world is desperate for. This isn't just about having people, it's about having the right people at the right time. But wait, there's a catch that could ruin everything. Here's the first 30-second reality check. You guys have mentioned this constantly in the comments. AI. The Philippines economy currently leans heavily on the BPO sector. If AI starts taking those jobs, that trillion-dollar dream could evaporate overnight. To survive, the Philippines has to move from basic call centers to high-end tech. It's a race against the machine, and the clock is ticking. Now, you can't have a trillion-dollar economy if you can't move goods from point A to point B. For decades, infrastructure was the Philippines' Achilles heel. But right now, the Build Better More program is pouring billions into railways and airports. If, and it's a big IF, these projects finish on time, It changes the game for foreign investors who used to be scared of the Manila traffic nightmare. But here is a truth that most hype videos won't tell you. The Philippines has some of the most expensive electricity in Asia. It's hard to build a manufacturing empire like Vietnam when your power bill is double theirs. This is why everyone is watching the TerraSolar project and the talks about bringing back nuclear power. Without cheaper energy, the trillion-dollar dream stays stuck in the dark. What makes the Philippines truly unique, though, is its invisible engine, the OFWs. Every single year, over $30 billion flows back into the country. It's a constant stream of cash that keeps the economy breathing even when global markets crash. It's the ultimate safety net. But can a country really become a global giant by exporting its best people? That's a debate we need to have. Let's address the elephant in the room. Most trillion-dollar economies are built on factories. Vietnam is winning there right now. The Philippines is trying to catch up by positioning itself as a green metal hub, using its massive nickel reserves for EV batteries. This is the pivot. If they can stop just exporting raw ore and start building batteries, that's where the real wealth is hidden. We need to talk about food. You can't have a rich nation with hungry people. As many of you pointed out in our last video, agriculture is the bottleneck. High food prices drive up wages, which makes the country less competitive. If the Philippines can't modernize its farms, it'll be forced to spend its trillions on imports rather than building its own future. We're halfway through, and the path looks possible, but narrow. If you're enjoying this deep dive, hit that subscribe button. We're tracking the rise of the next global powers every week. Now, let's get into the two biggest boss levels the Philippines has to beat to hit that 2033 goal. Boss level 1, the corruption tax. It's the topic that fills our comment section every single time. Red tape and bureaucracy are like friction on an engine. It slows everything down. To reach $1 trillion, the Philippines doesn't just need new buildings, it needs new systems. Digitalizing the government isn't just a nice to have, it's a requirement for growth. Boss level 2, the skills gap. Having a young population is only an advantage if they are trained for the jobs of 2030, not 1990. We're talking coding, engineering, and high-tech manufacturing. If the education system doesn't pivot as fast as the economy, the demographic dividend becomes a demographic burden. This is the part that keeps economists up at night. Remember, the Philippines isn't running this race alone. Indonesia and Vietnam are sprinting right next to them. Investors are looking for the path of least resistance. If the Philippines can't offer better stability and cheaper power than its neighbors, that $1 trillion investment might just take a flight to Hanoi or Jakarta instead. But there's one thing you can never count out: Filipino resilience. This is an economy that has survived global pandemics, financial crises, and natural disasters, and it keeps bouncing back faster than expected. That never say die attitude is reflected in the consumer market. People are spending, businesses are growing, and the mall culture is booming. So, let's look at the scoreboard. To hit $1 trillion by 2033, the Philippines needs to grow at about 6.5 to 7% every single year. Last year, they hit 5.6%. It's close, but they need to find that extra 1% of speed. That extra 1% comes from the things we discussed: cheaper power, better farms, and less red tape. My verdict? The pieces of the puzzle are all on the table. The youth is there, the infrastructure is finally moving, and the world is looking for an alternative to China. If the Philippines can solve its energy crisis and protect its service sector from AI, 2033 isn't just a dream, it's an inevitability. But if they stay stuck in the old way of doing things, they might miss the window. Now I want to hear from you. We see the numbers, but you live the reality. What do you think is the one thing that will either make or break this $1 trillion goal? Is it corruption, or is it the cost of electricity? Drop your thoughts below. I read as many as I can. Don't forget to check out our video on why Vietnam is currently leading the manufacturing race here. I'm Economy Land, and I'll see you in the next one.
Economic Dragonfire. China's path to global supremacy. Did you know? China's economy grows by over $1,000 every second, showcasing its rapid economic expansion. Today, we uncover the strategies driving this economic powerhouse. Let's explore the key factors that propelled China's remarkable journey. Welcome back. What are the key drivers behind this incredible growth, from towering skyscrapers to cutting-edge technology? Let's find out. First up, let's talk about infrastructure. Here's an image of China's high-speed rail network, one of the largest in the world. Did you know? China has over 40,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, connecting cities at speeds up to 350 km/h. This isn't just about faster travel, it's about connecting markets, boosting trade, and spurring economic development. Next, let's explore urbanization. China's urban population has skyrocketed, leaving 60% of the country's population now living in urban areas. Here's a quick look at cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, where skyscrapers and bustling streets tell the story of urban transformation. Now, let's zoom in on technology. Here's an image of the bustling tech parks in Beijing and Hangzhou. China is a global leader in technology, with advancements in AI, 5G, and e-commerce. Alibaba and Tencent are just the tip of the iceberg. China's investments in research and development have skyrocketed, making it a hotbed for innovation. Let's not forget the role of government policies. The Chinese government has implemented policies that encourage entrepreneurship, innovation, and foreign investment. Special economic zones, SEZs, like those in Shenzhen, have created a fertile ground for startups and multinational companies to thrive. Stay tuned, because next, we'll explore China's largest e-commerce market. Did you know? China's online retail transactions reached more than 710 million digital buyers, and transactions are forecast to reach $3.56 trillion by 2024. But what's driving this digital revolution, and how is it influencing the global economy? Let's explore. Let's start with e-commerce. Here's an image of Alibaba's Singles Day, the world's largest online shopping event. Did you know? In 2023, Alibaba and JD.com reported record Singles Day sales with an estimated $156 billion. This massive scale boosts domestic consumption and connects Chinese businesses with global markets. Now, let's delve into artificial intelligence. Here's an image of Baidu's AI Research Center in Beijing. China aims to become the world's major AI innovation center by 2030. Companies like Baidu, Tencent, and Huawei are at the forefront, developing AI applications in healthcare, finance, and autonomous vehicles. Turning to renewable energy, China is leading the charge towards a greener future. Here's a glimpse of the world's largest solar farm in the Gobi Desert. China is the world's largest investor in renewable energy, surpassing the US and Europe in solar and wind power capacity. Stay tuned, because next we'll explore China's role in Belt and Road Initiative spans. Did you know? The Belt and Road Initiative, spanning some 70 countries, covering Asia, Europe, and Africa, and includes Chinese investments approaching $4 trillion. But what exactly is driving China's massive investment in these regions, and what does it mean for global trade? Let's uncover the answers. Here's an image of the Silk Road, ancient trade routes that connected East and West. The BRI aims to revive and expand these routes through infrastructure projects like railways, ports, and pipelines. The BRI isn't just about physical infrastructure. It includes digital and financial connectivity initiatives, such as the Digital Silk Road and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB. These efforts strengthen China's influence in global governance and economic development. Turning to infrastructure development, here's a glimpse of the China-Laos Railway, a BRI flagship project. These investments not only improve connectivity, but also stimulate local economies, create jobs, and enhance regional stability. Stay tuned, because next we'll explore China's demographic impact on the economy. China is facing a demographic time bomb. By 2050, 330 million Chinese will be over age 65. Let's delve into the complexities of China's demographic landscape. Let's start with China's aging population. Here's an image of a bustling city contrasted with a tranquil rural village. The one-child policy, implemented between 1979 and 2015, has led to an unprecedented demographic shift. Today, China has one of the fastest growing aging populations in the world. Did you know? Over 40% of China's population still resides in rural areas, where access to healthcare, education, and job opportunities lags behind urban centers. Bridging this divide is essential for inclusive growth and social stability. Stay tuned, because next we'll explore China's environmental sustainability impact on economies worldwide. China accounts for over 70% of global carbon emissions, which is significantly higher than the global average in 2023. Let's uncover China's journey towards environmental sustainability. Now let's delve into China's carbon reduction goals. Here's an image of Beijing's skyline under clear skies, a stark contrast to the smog-filled days of the past. Aim to have CO2 emissions peak before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060, setting ambitious targets to curb pollution. Now we'll explore China's complexities in terms of the economy. Despite its economic prowess, China grapples with income inequality, rising debt burdens, and geopolitical tensions that shape its economic landscape. Let's start with income inequality. Here's an image of urban skyscrapers towering over rural villages. While China's cities flourish, rural areas lag in income and access to opportunities. The income gap between urban and rural residents remains a significant social and economic challenge. Now, let's examine debt levels. Here's an image of bustling financial districts, contrasted with concerns over corporate and local government debt. China's rapid expansion has been fueled by debt, raising concerns about financial stability and economic sustainability. Did you know? The government debt ratio to 61.3% of GDP by end 2024. Managing debt risks while sustaining economic growth remains a delicate balancing act for policymakers. Turning to geopolitical tensions, here's an image of global trade routes intersecting with China's expanding influence. From trade disputes to territorial disputes, China faces external pressures that impact its economic strategies and international relations. Stay tuned, because next, we'll explore the future outlook for China's economy and its global implications. Let's start with emerging growth areas. Here's an image of Chinese innovation hubs buzzing with activity. From artificial intelligence to biotechnology, China is at the forefront of technological innovation. Investments in 5G, quantum computing, and space exploration promise to redefine industries and create new economic frontiers. Now, let's explore China's global impact. Here's an image of bustling global trade routes connected through China's strategic initiatives. As a major player in global trade, China's economic policies and market dynamics influence international commerce and geopolitical relations. As we conclude our exploration of China's economic journey, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What aspects of China's economy fascinate you the most? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more in-depth analyses and updates on global economic trends. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on Economy Land.